Hi there, if you want to learn how to create sound effects, then you are in the right place. In this video, I want to go out and record sounds using wireless microphones. We'll be using the Hollyland Lark M2. All right, so now what I'm going to do is put the microphones on top of my car and I'm going to drive around pretty slowly. I put the wind muffs on, so let me show you that. All right, so I'm now in my car. What I'm going to do is I have my two wireless microphones on top of my car, and I'm going to drive really slowly just around the block here and see what kind of sounds we can get. So, yeah. So I'm back in my car, and this time I want to get some indoor, so inside the car ambiances with those microphones. I'm going to drive around a little bit again. So I placed the microphones right here, right there. So that's where the microphone is. I also have one right behind me as well. So I want to get this like super wide ambient sound. So I'm going to see how that sounds. So let's go for a drive. All right, I am back here at my studio. I was just listening to some of the recordings that we made, and I'm pretty impressed with how these little microphones held up. So what I got for these microphones here, just so you have an idea of what I was using and how I was using them, is there's two microphones, and I have one attached to my receiver on the back of my camera. That's what is receiving the microphones in stereo. So when I was recording ambiances, I had to go into the camera because you can't do that into your phone. But you also have plugs that can go into your phone, such as this one right here. And for that one, you can just plug that right into your smartphone. So Android phone, there's also an adapter for the iPhone, and then you can capture audio like that, but it's only mono audio. So you can use both microphones, but it will combine the signal of both into one, so it'll only be mono. So when I was going out and recording, I tried to put everything into my camera because then I could capture stereo recording, but just be aware of that. All right, so what I'd like to do now is actually show you the frequency graph of this microphone compared to the Sony D100, so you can kind of see what you're getting with these microphones. All right, so here we have the Lark M2. This is the mono signal. I was only using one microphone when I was doing the tire pump here. And you can see it was going into my phone. And I think that is why we have this hard filter cut up here at around 17K. That's what I'm assuming that is. If I look at the Sony D100, obviously frequency range goes way above 17K here. We have information going to close to 50 here. Yeah, around 45K. So a lot of high frequency information here with the D100. But I mean, obviously we're comparing a professional $1,000 plus recorder with, you know, a little, whatever, $150, $200 wireless microphone here. So something to be aware of. Another thing is for these microphones, they record 24-bit 48K. So as you can see here, would only ever record up to about 24K to begin with. But let's have a look at a stereo recording so we can compare here. All right, so this was the stereo recording that was going into my camera with the Lark M2. And you can see here, I don't have that hard filter cut right at 17K here. It looks like there's a one at around 20K though, or something, because you don't have really much information above that up here. Right, so again, you're very limited in your range. Not that it's not usable, it's very usable. It's just don't expect to be pitching stuff down or doing crazy pitch shifting or anything like that. But you can get a lot of really cool recordings that sound pretty good. So if I listen to some of this compared to the Sony here. So this is the Lark M2 here. Right, so that is from the Lark M2 and now the Sony. Right, so they both sound pretty good, but very different. Now, keep in mind, these were positioned in very different places. If you remember the Lark M2 here, these were on top of my car, which were parked further away from the street, and I had the Sony D100 really close to the street on the ground. So, right, so you had the height difference, and then you also had the distance difference. So very different. And also the Sony D100s, these microphones are not omnidirectional. They are very directional, and so I had them in a wide pattern. The Lark here, the Lark M2s, these are omnidirectional, so I was capturing everything around them, all the ambiances, which is why you get a lot of like these insect sounds, which you can hear up here, which are nice and clear. Right, you have some good insect recording sounds right there. All right, so just keep that in mind when you're comparing the two here. All right, so what are my thoughts here for these little microphones? Well, the first thing is that I don't think this should be anywhere near your first microphone or set of microphones that you ever buy, especially if you're wanting to be a professional field recorder or sound designer and you want to get super high quality sounds. This is not the microphone to get at all. What these are really great at and what they excel at is being really subtle. You can put them in places that you couldn't put other microphones. They're very small, so like you can kind of hide them. You can do some stealth recordings with them. You can, because they're magnetized, you can attach them to things that you wouldn't normally be able to easily attach microphones to. You don't have to hold them as I normally do for my Sony D100. I normally have to hold it or put it down somewhere. They're pretty big, right? So these are the advantages. They're very small. They're pretty discreet. And for the sound quality, it's really good. Yes, you only capture 48K, but sometimes that's all you need, especially if you're just on the go, or you just need to capture sounds really quickly, or you just want to capture sounds on your phone that's just better than whatever your phone microphone is. This could be a really great option. Now, obviously, there are some cons. You're not getting super high quality sounds here. This is only 48K 24-bit, which is great. This is your standard. This is the minimum that you would need, but you're not going to be doing extreme pitch shifting with these. The other thing with these is that, as you saw in my test for the phone recording, I had a hard cut filter. Now, I don't know if that happens all the time or if it's just if it goes into your phone, but I did get that going into my phone. Now, if you want to get stereo recording, the other con with this is that you have to have it going into a camera with the shoe mount, with a TRS attached to a shoe mount. So for most people, that is kind of a bummer. Most people will not actually have that. So something to take into consideration here. Now, if you're just looking to record mono, I think these are great. You're going to get really good sounds with that. If you do have a camera where you can attach a shoe mount, great. If you want to get some adapters, I've never tested it, but I would assume you could get some adapters and get stereo recording into your camera, but you have to probably buy $100 worth of adapters just to make it somehow work, which is probably not worth it to begin with. So another thing that's kind of a con with these is because they're so small and they have a lot of magnets that are magnetized. That's how you attach them to things. It's so easy to lose magnets or to leave them stuck somewhere and not realize that you took the microphone off. So if I show you here with this microphone, all right, so I have this microphone here, and if I just take off the magnet at the back here, so you have this little magnet that attaches to whatever, but you also have another magnet at the back here. So this one is always stuck to the microphone itself here, and then you also have this one here that is a kind of a spare one, or something that you can clip onto if you want to attach it, for example, on a shirt or something like that, or if you want to clip it on or magnetize it to a bag or something like that, you can do that with the magnet, right? So it also comes with clips, and as well as like a necklace that you can put it on. So really a lot of nice accessories. But yeah, the magnets, they all stick to each other, so it's kind of like hard to get them apart or to keep them separated and organized. Sometimes I thought I had lost a magnet because it's so easy to, like, you think you're taking off the magnet and the microphone, but actually you're leaving the magnet, the extra magnet that's on whatever you're sticking it onto, and then you have the microphone in your hand, not realizing that there's still another magnet there. So anyways, you just have to be really careful with that. Also, because they're so small, I almost dropped mine in the water. It was like less than a foot away from the water when I dropped it. So like, they're just, because they're so small and handling them, you just have to be careful, right? So these are just things to be considerate about. But again, you got to weigh the pros and the cons here. And also sound quality. Is it worth it for the sound quality? I'd be really curious to know what you guys think. Leave it down in the comments below. And yeah, let me know if these are even worth it.